Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Speak the Truth in Love Ministry with Miss Veronica, peace, blessing, Veronica Birebe Benedict CEO on this Tuesday, 11th August. And I would want to first of all appreciate the subscribers. I only have 16 subscribers, but I think I'm doing my 118 video or 119, I'm not so sure. And I really say thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to first teach us how to say thank you very much in the different international languages. In English, we say thank you very much. In French, we say merci beaucoup. In Chinese, we say shesheni. In German, we say danke schön or danke gut. In Arabic, we say shukran jazila. And in Swahili, the East African language, we say asante sana. Mbaniriza ku channel eno, ba subscribers bange. Thank you very much for the encouragement that keeps me doing what I'm doing by God's grace. And in this edition, I want to edify or encourage someone with a title to my video, The Spirit of Discouragement. I want to share about the spirit of discouragement because we have something that is hovering in such a season. Njagala kugabana ku mwoyo w'okugwamu amaanyi, omwoyo w'okugwamu essuubi. Because at times these things are happening to so many people and people hardly know, that is resulting to a lot of depression, that is resulting to a lot of suicidal ideations. Abantu balowooza mu kwetta, abantu besse, abantu besuula mu motoka, abantu balina ebizibu, stress afuuse stress. And there's something I'm telling people, let us be very careful because there's a new level of stress. Ogende butabika bagamba butabika abooze ne butabika aboogedde ki stress. So we have to be very careful and very mindful as we are walking in life because so many people are going through mental illnesses or they are breaking down mentally as a result of stress. It is what I want to share about this afternoon. Omwoyo w'okugwamu amaanyi, omwoyo w'okugwamu essuubi. You'll bear with me with the noise in the background because at times I have to compete with the community, but as long as my message is conveyed. So one, I want to first tell someone, it is okay not to be okay, but it is not okay to remain discouraged or to remain low. Inti chiri okay obutabeera okay, naye tekiri okay okusigala mu discouragement or depression. Kubanga abantu ffenna tulina embeera ze tuyitamu. We all have what we are going through. And it is okay not to be okay because it shows we are human, but it is not okay to remain discouraged or to remain low because of what you are going through. Abantu abasinga, we have allowed the negativity around us determine our inner peace. Tukiriza embeera etwetoolodde okudefininga emirembe gye tuyitamu because we have not known certain truth. We have not known that we are in a season where everyone is going through something. And at times people are, oba ndika ekikolimo, oba waliwo antambulirako, oba waliwo andoga, because you have not known truth. That there are seasons in life where a lot of discouragement is going on, but the power is encouraging ourselves in God. Amaanyi gali mu kwezzaamu maanyi, gali mu kwezzaamu ssuubi, kyenva ngamba abantu nti okukkiriza kwaffe tekuggyaawo bizibu, but our faith puts the problems under God's control. Kyova olaba oli akugamba olina Katonda naye gwe asinga ebizibu. Aba kyayogera takitegeera. Kuba nze alina Katonda sigenda kwetta, sigenda kwewa mutwa, sigenda kwesuula mu motoka olw'ebizibu bye mpitamu. Ba Katonda mumanyi. And the reason I'm telling someone this afternoon, be very careful about the spirit of discouragement that is hovering, that is keeping people so low. Because at the end of the day, we have not known certain truth. At times you are seeing businesses moving slowly. At times things are not working out and it is everywhere. And the reason I'm telling someone, we have to encourage ourselves in God. Tuyina okwezzaamu amaanyi, tuyina okwebuulirira. Because when you read the Bible in 1 Samuel chapter 30, I think it is verse 6. Is it? Yeah, verse 6. The Bible tells us David encouraged himself in the Lord. Inti Daudi yezzaamu amaanyi mu Mukama. Daudi yali nga ayita mu bintu bingi nga baagalamu kuba mayinja naye yezzaamu amaanyi mu Katonda. And the reason I'm telling someone, olina okuyiga okwezzaamu amaanyi gwe ng'omuntu nga tolinda muntu kuzzaamu maanyi. nga tolinda kwogera na maama wo na taata wo na muganda wo kubeera ku TikTok nga olina okuyiga okwezzaamu ne weebuulirira. There is something, Veronica, I have learnt over the years. If happiness is a choice, depression is equally a choice. No, there are things we have to learn that are very true and life experiences. Okusanyuka oba gwasalawo okusanyuka n'okwekubagiza gwasalawo. Because there are things I share out of life experience. Omuntu ajja kumbuuza, Miss Veronica, nze yagambye omuntu wange okufa n'engenda mu kwekubagiza. No, we have to know fenna tufiirwa. Because there are certain things, they are inevitable. Tetoola byewala. Okufiirwa, okulwaza, okufuna ebizibu, okubulwa ssente, they are inevitable because we live in a fallen world. Naye lwaki oli afiirwa naye ezzaamu amaanyi n'agenda mu maaso, ate oli n'afiirwa n'abeera ku makerenda ne bagamba teyadda ngulu? Because it is a choice. Veronica, I battled depression for years, but when I got to know truth, depression is a choice out of life experience. I have so many people that silence me, but I went through depression and I can share out of experience that depression is a choice. Because we all have what we are going through, but our attitude and mindset towards what we go through is what makes the difference. It is why we have to know certain truth. Fenna tukubibwa, fenna tuggwamu amaanyi, tuggwamu essuubi, naye amaanyi gali mu kweyoola, amaanyi gali mu kwekuŋŋaanya. The Bible says in Proverbs 24:16, a righteous man falls 7 times but rises again. Bible yegamba mu ngero 44:16 nti omutuukirivu agwa emirundi 7 naye ayimuka. Mulimu ebintu nga olina okuyimuka, olina okweyoola, olina okuddamu essuubi n'otemalaamu maanyi. Kwa ffenna tugwa, ffenna tukubibwa, ffenna tuggwamu essuubi, ebizibu bye tuyitamu buli omu alina kyayitamu. Naye amaanyi gali mu kwekuŋŋaanya. Amaanyi nogamba Mukama kino kibaddewo kati what is the next? It is what I tell people. Even you may have done mistakes, you may have had labels, you may have, but do not, there are things I tell myself. Even if you have failed, something is only a failure when you allow, you have a choice to rise up, but you remain to like to keep down or to keep low. Something is only a mistake when you have not learned the lesson from it, but you are dwelling in pity parties. You are dwelling mu kwekubagiza mu sorrow because of the mistake. Naye omuntu asobola okusalawo, omuntu nga Mukama yatuwa okusalawo, osobola okwekuŋŋaanya nga Mukama kino kibaddewo ne nina okwekuŋŋaanya ne ngenda mu maaso. Because at times we have allowed the cares of the world, we have allowed the negativity around us, we have allowed these labels to keep us down, to keep us low, because we have not known certain truth. Tetumanyi nti abantu ffenna tuggwa, abantu ffenna tukubibwa, kobeere superstore tya buli omu aggwamu amaanyi n'essuubi. Because ebizibu bye tuyitamu bitumalawo. But because we have known certain truths, sigenda kwetta, sigenda kwesuula mu motoka, sigenda kwewa butwa, kwa Katonda mumanyi. And the reason I tell people, oli akugamba olina Katonda naye olina ebizibu, abatayagera takitegeera. Because my faith does not remove the reality, but my faith puts that reality under God's control. Sigenda kwetta, sigenda kwewa butwa lwakuba ebizibu, kwa Katonda mumanyi. And the reason I tell this channel is not this is a city pastor, city mulokole. There is something I tell people, I only share truth out of biblical truth. But I'm not a pastor. Because there are things we go through life, omuntu ayogera ku Bible abeera pastor, but I'm not a pastor. There are things I share as I show you the Bible. Because most people ask me, name is Veronica, oli wa ddiini ki, oli mulokole, oli mukatuliki. I don't want to relate to any religious denomination, but I speak the truth in love. I am one person who has grown up in church my whole life, but religion has disappointed me, but my God has not disappointed me. Ndabye abantu ffe abeeyita abalokole naye nga temuli bulokole bwamu. Ndabye abasiraamu ng'asiiba ku musaalo naye nga tebuli mu musiraamu bwamu. So there are things I tell myself. I do not associate to any religion, but I associate to Creator, a God in heaven. Ndabye omuntu n'avuma oli simanya Katonda osinza bibumbe naye ng'asinza ebibumbe entambula ye ne Katonda gyeri naye nga ggwe eyeeyita omulokole w'ekiwempe temuli mazima. So there are things I have learned, And that's why I tell people, I'm not here, siri mulokole. I'm not a pastor, but I share truth out of love. And the reason I'm telling someone, if happiness is a choice, depression is equally a choice. Because there are things I share out of life experience, and I'm silenced by psychologists, I'm silenced by doctors. Byogera tobitegeera. No, there are things we have to know. Omuntu wogena mu depression. Ne woomira akakere tekajjaawo depression, tekajjaawo mbeera eyo. Nera weebaka n'ozuuka ng'ekizibu weekiri. Because this antidepressant only helps you rest, but you wake up when the problem is there. And as long as you depend on it for years, it does not matter. No musawa akolamu ssente. Because you have not known. The antidepressant will only help you rest. N'enoozuuka ng'ekizibu weekiri. But tewali kakerenda katwala stress, kajjawo birowoozo, kajjawo depression, nga twayize kwezzaamu maanyi, twayize kwezzaamu ssuubi, twayize kwewa mirembe, tekaliiyo. There are things I tell people out of life experience. There are certain wounds of the soul that pharmaceutical medicines cannot treat. Ate nga nkubuulira mazima. Ojja kubeera ku antidepressants zikookye ekibumba, zikoononera system, but because you are not using wisdom. There is something I asked myself, Veronica, for years. The years I depended on antidepressants, how come I was not happy? Because I got to know truth that have set me free. We have to know everyone has their issues. Everyone has something they are going through. And the reason I'm telling someone, if depression is a choice, no, like if happiness is a choice, depression is equally a choice. Because no one is going to make you feel happy, to feel joyful, and it is why I show people certain biblical truths. Abantu nga Daudi, bakabaka, abayina amaanyi, they went through depression. It is why the Bible says in 1 Samuel chapter 30 verse 6, David encouraged himself in the Lord. Bali bagala mukuba mayinja ne Daudi yezzaamu amaanyi mu Mukama. Kyembulirira omuntu yiga okwezzaamu amaanyi, yiga okweyoola. Ffenna tukubibwa naye weekuŋŋaanye oddemu amaanyi. Because the Bible says in Proverbs 24:16, a righteous man falls 7 times but rises again. Nti omutuukirivu agwa emirundi 7 naye ayimuka. Amaanyi gali mu kwekuŋŋaanya, gali mu kwezzaamu maanyi, mu kwezzaamu ssuubi. Because we have to know, as long as we live in a fallen world, we are not exemplary from suffering, we are not exemplary from problems, because we live in a fallen world. We have to know, as long as we live in a fallen world, things like death, like accidents, like sickness, like lack of money, they will be there. But the way we handle them is what makes the difference. Are you going to allow your problem define you or refine you? You have a choice. You can allow your problem refine you because you have not known certain truth. It is what I'm telling someone. You may have gone through failure. They have rejected you at that interview. Business has buchimuchigenzi. There is something I'm telling people. It is only failure when you have a choice to rise. Something is only a mistake when you allow it give you identity or define you. Even at times we have choices we have made and we have made mistakes. But something only will remain a mistake when you do not learn the lessons behind that mistake. A mistake is only a mistake when you do not learn the lessons in a mistake and move forward. When you have the chance to move forward, but you remain to keep low, you remain to keep depressed because you have allowed it define you. No, we have to know abantu bagwa n'abamanyi abakikoze abatuse. People fail over and over, but power lies in resilience, in bouncing back. Mukweyoola, mukwekuŋŋaanya, mukwezzaamu amaanyi. Nga buli woogwa weekuŋŋaanya n'oddamu amaanyi. N'ogamba nakubiddwa ekigo nina okuyimuka. Because that is true resilience. Resilience means bouncing back over and over. Kati nganze wunda Veronica ne bakuyita omulalu, because you have ever been to Butabika. But that does not define me. Veronica, I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I know who I am. I'm not defined by labels because naingira kwa Butabika because of, no, I know who I am. And the reason I'm telling someone, togwamu subi, togwamu maanyi, orebizibu byetuitamu. When you read the Bible in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 2 Corinthians 12 from verse 7 to 10, Paul says he was given a thorn in the flesh. He pleaded to God to remove this thorn. And God told him, my grace is sufficient. That, Paulo yaweebwa thorn mu flesh. Oyinza okuba oyina ekizibu ekiriwo. No sabaka kijeewo kijeewo. He pleaded with God, and God told him, my grace is sufficient. It's such a mukama chimala. Even like, what thorn do you have in the flesh? We all have our thorns. We all have those thorns in the flesh where we mukama chino chijeewo. Nenga mukama aine ensonga wacha kuwadde eri ggwe eryo. Aine ensonga wacha, at times we are very good at looking at what we are very good at mukama tumwagalako migati. We are users. But at times God is looking at what we are becoming. Embeera eyo kikyekuyigiriza. Embeera eyo mbala kigyekuteekamu. Abantu asinga twegaana Katonda olw'embeera. Wotabeera na ssente neddala Katonda gy'ali. And we doubt God because of situations. Omuntu w'ofiirwa naye Katonda gy'ali. There is something I tell and I show biblical truths. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes, when you read Ecclesiastes 3, there is a time for everything. Mulimu ebiseera eby'essanyu n'ebiseera eby'okulaba amaziga. Nti mulimu ebiseera eby'amaziga n'ebiseera eby'essanyu. Naye waki mu biseera eby'amaziga twegaana Katonda. Naye mu biseera eby'essanyu kati tumwegaana. Bwe tubeera ku mbaga, ku graduation, ku birthday, Katonda gy'ali. Naye w'ofiirwa Katonda ddala gy'oli. And we allow these demons or the devil put this voice because we have not known truths. We have not known at times God allows certain suffering to test us. Aina kya kuzimbamu, aina kya kukolamu. Negwe nokkiriza okubonabona okwo kuteeka wansi, okumalamu essuubi, okumalako emirembe, kuba totegedde mazima gali mu kigambo kya Katonda. At times people are so discouraged, they are so depressed because we have not known that suffering is part of the journey. God has never promised us a life without pain and suffering. It is why, Veronica, I answer so many people who ask me questions. Suffering is part of the journey. God knew sickness, these labels, they are part of the journey. And look at who you're becoming. Are you going to allow this pain, define you or refine you? Because we know, even those bricks the enemy insists to suit, nga wempa obujulizi bwange Veronica ensi empisa omulalu. But I'm a blessing to nations because of my testimony. I did not go down, I did not bow to shame, because I know who I am. And it is why I'm here encouraging you today. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. Barumi 8 essula y'omunana onyero 28 egamba nti byonna bikola ku lw'obulungi olw'abo abaagala Katonda abayitidde olw'ekigendererwa. All things, the good and the bad things. Ebi n'ebirungi byonna bikola ku lw'obulungi lwakuba oyitidde Katonda. N'ekyo ekibi sitaani kyakutaddeko kiyinza okukola ku lw'obulungi kubanga amazima ogategedde agakufudde ow'eddembe. Naye abantu asinga twagala birungi byokka. Ebi ne twegaana Katonda ne tukkiriza ensi tumalamu amaanyi kubanga olw'ebintu ebitubeerako. And it is why I show people biblical truths. Wosoma story ya Job in the Bible, Job chapter 2 verse 10. Yabuuza mukyala we ng'amugamba yeegaane Katonda. N'ambuuza Mukama tunaamusuubirako birungi byokka? Tetumusuubireko bibi? Because he knew Yobu teyeegaana Katonda lwa mbeera nga ffe abaana b'abantu. N'ofiirwa omwana omu newe naye nga Yobu yafiirwa abaana 10 olunaku lumu n'afiirwa obugagga bwe naye teyeegaana Katonda. Naye gwe ofiirwa omu ensi naye ddala Katonda gy'ali. Because we have not known truths. Job did not deny God. It is why he said in Job 13:15, though you slay me, though you smite me, I'll praise you. Mukama adde byonna bigenze nja kusinza, sijja kwegaana olw'ebintu by'ensi. Naye abantu abasinga, we have allowed discouragement make us lose hope in God, make us doubt God, because we have not known certain truths. We have not known that the Bible says a righteous man falls 7 times but rises again. Proverbs 24:16. Engero 24:16 nti omutuukirivu agwa emirundi 7 naye ayimuka. No, we have to know in this journey of life, even bad things happen to good people because we are just human. We live in a fallen world. Something bad happening to a good person does not make them evil. No! Because Job was a blameless man before God. Yali musajja atuukiridde nga buli kimu atambula bulungi ne Katonda. Naye laba ebyamutuukako. Ne Yobu teyeegaana Katonda. N'agamba Mukama omununuzi wange mulamu. Job did not deny God because of a situation, but most of us because of problems we deny. Wemba sina ne Katonda oba gy'oli bw'ate olina ssente. And because we have not known, nti Mukama agamba mu buli mbeera twebazenga. In all circumstances, let us give thanks. In the good and the bad. He does not say give thanks for the circumstance, but give thanks in the circumstance. Oyinza okuba ofiiriddwa, waliwo ky'osobola okwebaza Katonda mu kufiirwa okwo. Teweebaza Katonda nti ofiiriddwa naye n'omwebaza, pa wabeerawo n'ekirungi eky'okutunuulira mu kufiirwa okwo. But most of us deny God because of the cares of the world. We deny God because bino ebyensi ne bitumalamu essuubi. And that's why people are so much wounded. They are depressed because we have not known certain truth. You think happiness comes from marriage. You think happiness comes from having a job. Happiness comes from money. Happiness comes from children. Because you have not known. These things we all have an emptiness. Only our God can satisfy. There are things I tell people, Veronica, I'm 38 years, and I'm waiting on God. If you think a man is the source, you will be so disappointed. No man is the source of your happiness when you have not learned how to create your own happiness. Now let me speak to women, to men. No woman is the source of your happiness when you have not learned how to be happy on your own. It is why, Veronica, my prayer to God every day is to be complete. Because no human being is the source of your happiness. Chovola bojja genda obere ku TikTok obere ku simu oyogere ne mama wo oyogere ne baganda bo nga toyina mirembe kubanga emirembe emituufu giva mu ggwe first of all and your creator. But we have allowed discouragement because we think happiness comes from the things of the world. No, let me speak to someone. Happiness does not come from money. People have all the money, but they are so wounded. They are so stressed. There are things we have to learn. True happiness comes from within. And the reason I'm speaking to someone in this video, do not allow to remain discouraged. Everyone has something they are going through. You find a woman is so unhappy in her marriage because she has failed to conceive. And you have allowed the world call you barren. We all have these labels. Disease D, barren E, bipolar, mental illness C, widow D, overweight, and we have allowed these labels give us identity. It is what I'm telling someone. It is okay not to be okay, but do not allow to remain discouraged. Wezeemu amaanyi, wezeemu essuubi, yogera n'emmeeme yo. Yogera n'emmeeme yo ofune essanyu. But tewali ssanyu lewe kigenda nga teweewadde essanyu. No, there is ongoing stress. Bakulaga butabikabooze. Waki butabikabooze? Stress. Abantu bakkiriza stress to define them because you have not known truth. There is an ongoing genda otune ekiri ebutabika stress nenga yajjako abantu. Because people are not mindful of what is ongoing. Bandoga, bansadaka, bamponga because of what is happening everywhere in the world, and you think there is a problem with you because you have not learned that the spirit of discouragement aborts destinies. The spirit of discouragement cancels God's plan for our lives. No kunozuka nga twalina maanyi, twalina ssuubi, because you have allowed the negativity around you define your inner peace. We have allowed the cares of the world define our inner peace. Lwakuba siri mufumbo, lwakuba sina baana, lwakuba sina mulimu, sina sente, and you have allowed that define your inner peace, which is so wrong. There are things I speak to single ladies. Oyinza okubeera n'akaana akamu ako naye nga kakolera ne stress. Oyinza okubeera n'omwami ng'akuwa stress omukyala because you have not known true happiness first comes from within and then your creator. That's what I'm telling someone. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Wezeemu amaanyi, wezeemu essuubi. Do not allow discouragement to keep you down and to keep you low. Thank you very much for listening to me. And let me repeat, thank you very much in the different languages. English, thank you very much. French, merci beaucoup. Chinese, shesheni. Swahili, asante sana. German, danke schön or danke gut. Arabic, shukran jazila. And then, that is all. Thank you very much and have a beautiful afternoon. Veronica Mirembe Benediction.